Well, today is the last day of Women's History Month, and we wanted to do something special to close out the month of celebrations.
That's right. Today we're welcoming in Sue Hagerty, the founder and president of the Boundless Futures Foundation that encourages and supports entrepreneurial women and having a boundless impact in society. Sue, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. It's hard to follow grief and veterans to be inspiring, so thanks for the time.
Oh, glad to do it. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, well, for starters, just tell us a little bit about the foundation that you started and really just what sparked it, because you have a really cool story that follows it.
Oh, thank you. My husband and I started the Boundless Futures Foundation for multiple reasons. First, we come from entrepreneurial families. Both my parents and my husband Mikhail's parents started their own business. So we were incredibly inspired by our mothers who were instrumental in starting the business. I've actually started 3 businesses of my own, and I can tell you firsthand how crazy, difficult it can be. And then third, we really believe that a business can be a force for both growth and good.
Absolutely.
That's great. I was going to ask, because I know you've got other things on your plate too. I mean, how did you decide to take on that extra challenge and be willing to juggle with all the other things you're doing? I mean, we've talked about your restaurant before as one of those that you take on, the Good Bowl in Traverse City, but you were already fairly busy as it was before adding this extra Boundless Futures to your plate.
Well, we actually have 3 girls, and I think that's another inspiration for starting the foundation. We hope that if they ever want to start their own business, that it won't be as difficult as it was for my parents and for me. So I think this idea of, when you find the busiest person in the room, you give them more work. And so I felt like, okay, I think I've got enough experience to be able to start a foundation to help female founders.
So let's dive into a little bit about how this foundation is supporting women to become entrepreneurs, or just give them that extra lift that they might need to get started.
Yeah, our mission is to provide financial and leadership resources for female founders. For us, it's really looking at kind of the core issues for female founders. The first is really access to capital. 43% of small businesses are owned by women in the U.S., but they get less than 3% of venture capital. So it's really about that access to be able to grow your business and invest in your business. I think another big issue is role models and mentorship. So we launched something called the Advisory Circle of past female founders that help mentor women through some of the big challenges, and that's really a solid business plan, a good marketing plan, and how to really grow your business, and even things like leadership capabilities, how you think about how do you grow yourself, and then how do you grow your team.
Mm-hmm.
For both you and your husband, for Mikhail, do you think it's getting easier now than it was? I mean, obviously we'd like to fast track the process and balance out the scales of justice, as it were, a little bit more quickly, but is it getting better? And as more women come up in leadership roles, are you able to then advance that notion?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would love to fast track a lot. I
Sure.
think it's probably a little easier than when my parents and my mother started her business, but I think that statistic I just showed you tells you that there's not a lot of progress, right? Yeah. And so if, there's access to capital, 97% are given to men. So I think there's a lot of work that can be done. But I do feel like there's some progress. There's great female founders, there's great female CEOs. So I think that glass ceiling is lowering just a tiny bit, but we have a lot of work to do still.
And the foundation follows 3 pillars. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, the 3 pillars are really about empowering female founders. It's really about ensuring that we wrap them around with leadership resources. It's really about ensuring that we elevate nonprofits that can also help. So it's not just really about the female founders, it's also about how do we help other businesses who help female founders. And the last piece is embrace, and that's really about mentorship. How can I help female founders that have not experienced some of the things that other founders have experienced?
In terms of the progress you've seen so far, I mean, how long has the foundation been around? What kind of involvement have you had? not only from interested parties, but then also other women who support what you're doing?
Well, we're babies in the founder space, but we started in September of 23. So we're a little over a year. But I think we've done a lot in that time because I've really been thinking about this for many years. I started my first business when I was 30. So this idea of how tough it is to start your own business, period, whether you're a man or a woman, but I think starting your own business when you're a female founder has all these nuances. So in my mind, it's been there for a long time, but the nonprofit's been around for a little over a year.
So then how do, if there's viewers watching that are women entrepreneurs, how can they get involved? How can they learn more? What does that process look like to reach out to you guys?
Yeah, so we have an application online of boundlessfutures.org. It's a bit of a comprehensive process because we really want to get underneath your mind. How are you thinking about things? Do you have a solid business plan? So you would submit your business plan and then you would do an interview with you. But one caveat to this is, I mentioned this earlier, we believe that business should be used for both growth and good. So anyone who wants to apply for our nonprofit, you have to use your business for growth and good. So that means either you're creating a product that helps a societal issue, or you donate some of your proceeds or sales to help society. So that's where the Boundless comes from our foundation.
That's great. What have you seen then in terms of interest and what you're able to do and turn things around and get young entrepreneurs off on their own, in the right direction?
Yeah, we've gone through thousands of interviews and applications. I think something that's been inspiring for me is I just got an email last week from one of our grantees, and she said, I was able to open my second location because of you guys, and she was so excited about that. So I think hearing from some of our grantees a year later that what we did was able to help them propel and grow their business. So I think it's little pieces of work, but really meaningful.
Does this feel like a kind of a full circle moment being yourself a woman entrepreneur you have 3 businesses yourself and you've done so much. Looking back from, maybe when you first started your first business or had the idea to now not only having your businesses, but then helping other women do the same thing. What does that feel like?
It feels incredible, it feels inspiring, and it also feels like I have a lot more work to do because every time I talk to a female founder, I realize there's thousands more that we're not able to access. So it's both inspiring and frustrating at the same time, to tell you the reality of that. Back to your first question.
Sure. Wow. I would also maybe imagine that the support network that is created then, not only with the existing members, but every time you bring on a new grantee, then it grows and grows and grows, as you said. When we see the numbers that, X number of businesses, so many businesses fail in the first year, but to have that support, both financial and moral and, just the intelligence that comes along with needing to know what you need to know, all that support's got to be a huge help for everybody too.
Yeah, I love that you asked that because in the fall we're going to do our first grantee alumni call, and so we're going to get all the grantees together, and we're going to get all advisory committee members together and really share ideas. I think sometimes, even if you're brand new as a female founder, just talking to somebody else who's gone through the same exact thing as you have and sharing those ideas is really powerful. So this is really about building a community. So we're getting ready to work on that, and on our 2nd anniversary, we'll bring everybody together. Maybe we'll do a little champagne via Zoom, but we'll really get together, celebrate, and share ideas.
Yeah, what a celebration and an accomplishment, and you're impacting so many people in the community, such inspiration. So thank you for all you do. We could sit and talk to you about it really for the full hour, but
next time we should.
Yes, we really should, because it's amazing.
Yes. Well, it's great to have you here for Women's History Month, of course, and know that you are making an impact, and women all over are making history because of what the Boundless Futures Foundation is doing.
Absolutely.
So thanks for coming in, Sue.
Thank you.
Thank you.